Oh, there we go. Hello, hello. What's good, everyone? Sound check, sound check. We should be good. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. It is Taco Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. My name's John. We watch markets. I teach you some stuff. And that's it. Let's get Beverly, Willow, Andreas, Naruto 2020, Cameron. Yeah, taco. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna order tacos today, but you know what they say. What's good, Maximiliano? All right, so I do have a discussion topic for today, and then as far as price action goes, I feel like we may have set our low of the day here. As always, the possibility exists that I could be wrong. This might be our low of the day. I think there's a good chance that it may be or close to it. Not that I want to try and pick a market bottom today. If we look at ES, right, S&P on a daily time frame, okay, what is our current range? What's good, Leon? Well, almost 4,400 up to almost 4,600. Okay, so we have this 200-point range, right? And then at the 44.71 level and 44, whatever that is, 44.61, right? There's that gap there from Friday, August 25th and Monday, August 28th. So that should be actually seen on a weekly as well. Okay. So you have this weekly gap here. You can see that on the daily, and then this would also, at least in my opinion, right? You know, if we simply just take the range, I mean, you can eyeball it, but this is a gap that is in a discounted market, right? Because 50% roughly and lower would be considered a discounted market, right? So that is where we have met this afternoon. And so, that's just for visuals, right? If we just take that off. So if we come back to the 5-minute, I'm still kind of waiting for a reaction. I don't want to be convinced of bullishness just yet. But if we do go take a look at the Nasdaq, okay, we're in a similar scenario. You guys drop a like on the stream if you can hear me, if all is well. Put that back. I think I gotta send one more from yesterday's giveaway. I don't think there's a Amazon in the Czech Republic, so I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with that. May just have to do a gift card and leave it at that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So Nasdaq, similar scenario, but just different gap. It hasn't traded down to that weekly gap here, but it is at a small daily gap from Monday and Tuesday of August 28th and 29th. And the difference here is that outlined with the blue line, you can see that the Nasdaq is higher. Okay, so I'll show you the S&P again. Right here we have the S&P trading lower, making lower lows into about 1145, and you see that, right? And it's reaching into that gap, whereas the Nasdaq, while the S&P was making lower lows, the Nasdaq was making higher lows here. So again, that's why I think the S&P might be at our low of the day like this. I could see that as our low of the day. Nasdaq, obviously the stronger, right? It's already traded well through the gap. Now we're back above it, right? We've traded above some recent highs as well during lunch. So that is where the strength is at least for right now. So what do we do with that information? Well, if we're looking for longs, it's obviously the market has had a, well, dramatic movement lower this morning. And so, we're at a discount on the daily. We're at a discount at the current day's range. So to me, again, if we happen to be bullish, then I think we could be at a decent logical area for longing. Yes. Okay. Not financial advice. I'm not telling you to pull the trigger on anything. Okay. You guys already know we got the disclaimers rolling 24/7. Okay. So just be mindful of that. And those are my thoughts for the second half of today. Bloodbath in the morning. PM might see a reversal to some degree or another. What do you guys think? What are y'all thinking? We'll see what we do there if we can get there. What do you guys think about the indices today? Did y'all trade anything today? Naruto's in agreement. Oh man, here we go with that yawning again. It's all right. We made it to 12:12 before that started. Does anybody have their opinion on indices today? And then the Dow is just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And I don't even know if there's anything significant about Dow today. I would probably assume the low of September 6th, right? Wednesday, September 6th. Yeah. Right here. So we are below that, right? Dramatic drop down. So I think this could easily be a, profit taking area for shorts. So we might see short covering potentially, but Dow looks the weakest. There's no real surprise there. And so, yeah, that's where those levels come from. 44.66 and 44.61. What's good, Kevin? What's good, Trader Dad? Bullish divergence with higher low on Nasdaq, right? Right. Mitigation long setup. Didn't have proper time to analyze. Yeah, that's another thing too, Andreas. I mean, you gotta have some time as well. I mean, when we have this sort of formation, right? Our low, high, lower, low, right? To me, that signifies that there may be some sort of mitigation opportunity. And I almost feel similar to yesterday, right? Yesterday's case was we outlined. Matter of fact, we can actually take a look at that. Which is funny because after we got off the stream, we fucking raced right down to those lows, and that ended up being very close to our low of the day, which I was not trying to anticipate. I was not trying to, do anything like that. It's just we pointed out the small time frame lows, said it was a possibility. We'll see. And then, of course, you get a 5-minute candle that ripped ass and went straight there. And I thought that was funny. I watched that happen, and I was like, wow. Should have traded it, right? Not really. Because, again, the idea yesterday was it could be. Because even when price was here, Even when it was right there, I said it may still sell off. I just don't have confidence in that. Right? And I didn't. I said if I was in this, I'd be worried and nervous that it would probably go ahead and hit my stop. And it ends up not doing that. And it just breaks down, trades higher one more time, and then just rips everyone's face off who's long, and then goes right to that low. So, you know, I'm not kicking myself for not trading that yesterday. I mean, if anything, when scenarios like that happen, you just move on, right? If you just don't trade it, then you just move on. Okay? Which actually brings me to the point that I wanted to make today. And I briefly touched on this yesterday, but I guess I can go a little bit more in depth with it today about I guess the way that you, or the way that a person would talk to themselves. What's good, Sean? Because, you know, I see tweets, I see social media, or even people that message me, and I think a lot of us, including myself, end up being too hard on ourselves when it comes to the journaling aspects of trading or personal development or business, whatever, and the self-reflection side of personal development, trading, business, and all that. So what I mean is, let's say, I mean, dude, I have had some really, really bad scenarios that people have gone through and came to me with, right? Like, hey, John, I'm going through this or through that. And there have been some really fucked up situations, okay? I mean, these were bad. I mean, we're talking like, hey, John, I've blown like 5 trading accounts, or I've blown like 10 challenges. I've spent all this money on challenges. I've lost it all. You know, I can't seem to, you know, get a grip on it. You know, I don't know what the problem is, if it's discipline or this or that and third. We just created equal highs, by the way. We'll just monitor again what we do here. Well, I want to see the reaction of what we do at this high. So self-reflection and journaling, I think, is a very important aspect to a trader's development, as well as a person, like personal development. And to be honest, I'm not the greatest journaler in the world by any means. I don't journal every day, even. The daily Stoic journal I do have, I mean, I've taken days off, and days ended up turning into weeks. I mean, you know, I'm not perfect, okay? And so I read a chapter, part of it yesterday and part of it today, in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life book. And the only reason that I read it is because I read the first chapter and I knew what the second chapter was about. And, or rule 2 rather, I mean, chapter 2, rule 2, whatever. But the title of rule 2 is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. And I'm going, oh my God, that is an interesting observation, right? A way of putting it, right? Treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. And of course, it's Jordan Peterson. If you know anything about him, he goes all over the place, but then comes all the way back and ties everything together. It's very strange. It's very weird, but I do enjoy reading Jordan Peterson. I mean, I feel like my brain is scrambled eggs after the chapter's done, but he's got some really good points, and he uses a lot of big words and phrasing. It's incredible the way his brain works and operates. But anyway, I'm reading through this chapter, and basically the notes of this chapter is we treat sometimes other people better, or we wish better for other people sometimes more than ourselves, because we know our flaws more than anybody else does, right? Like, you guys aren't aware of all the bad trades that I've taken. I am, right? Like, I know some really bad trades that I've taken. I remember the times that I've over leveraged or got out before I should have, or moved my stop too quickly. Like all these mistakes that people make, I make them too, right? And nobody else knows those mistakes but me. You know what I'm saying? And I do share that I do make mistakes. I just don't share every single mistake, right? Just like I don't share every trade, I don't share every win either. I don't share all the good deeds I do either, because I don't want you to know that stuff, right? But anyway, so coming back to the point, the Stoics, right? And I shared this on Twitter the other day as well. From give me 1 second while I look this up. And it does look like we are breaking structure to the upside for ES, by the way. I want to say it wasn't Crispus. I think it was Cleanthes. It was. Okay. So Cleanthes is in The Lives of the Stoics by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, right? The same gentleman that did the Daily Stoic, right? And there's a chapter on Cleanthes, and there's a certain segment where it says this kind of self-talk was a core practice for Stoics, and it wasn't always negative. Once Cleanthes overheard a solitary man talking to himself and kindly told him, quote, "You aren't talking to a bad man," end quote. That is to say, one's self-talk must be strict, but never abusive. So if we expand on that idea, strict, but not abusive, I think, and I've done this before, and I see it happen, right? A lot of the times we end up not being strict on ourselves. We end up being abusive to ourselves. And that's where the journaling aspect or the reflection aspect now becomes deconstructive rather than constructive criticism. Am I making sense? You want to be constructive. You don't want to be deconstructive. You want to say, look, yeah, maybe you broke your rules, but you're not an idiot. Maybe you had a momentary lapse of judgment, but you're not an idiot. Maybe you're undisciplined, but we can work on that. Being undisciplined or having a momentary lapse of judgment, I mean, shit, if you guys knew the women that I've dated, you would be like, holy shit, John. You have repeatedly momentary lapse of judgment, you know? So it is what it is. Strict but not abusive, right? It's like, all right, John, whatever. But we have to be strict with ourselves and tolerant with others, as Marcus would say, but especially when it comes to journaling, we have to be not just strict, but tolerant and non-abusive, constructive feedback to ourselves. Because if we sit there and tell ourselves like, oh man, I can't be a trader, I suck at trading, or I suck at analysis and all this and that, that's not helping you at all. That is not helping your performance. And I mean, maybe for some it might to some extent, but I think it was Do Hard Things by Steve Magnus who talks about the science of like true toughness, and being too hard on yourself actually works against you more than it does for you. So how do we remedy that situation? We have to treat ourselves like we're someone responsible for helping. So you kind of have to, and this is another Stoic practice, you have to take a step back, and this is right also from Do Hard Things, or not Do Hard Things, The Practice of Groundedness by Brad Stulberg, the Stoic book that he doesn't quote any of the Stoics, but anyway, even in modern day cognitive behavioral therapy, say that fucking 3 times fast, their whole thing too is when analyzing a situation, you have to step back, right, from the situation, look at it from a bird's eye view. And so you have to do the same thing. You have to go, okay, if I was telling another person how they did today, how would I frame that? It's like, okay, well, maybe you did move your stop loss too early, but at least, you know, you took the trade, you managed the risk. It's just you jumped the gun a little bit. You got a little bit too impatient. But is there a reason for that? Like, did you have to leave the house? Did you have to go back to work? Like, what made you, jump the gun? So it's kind of like, okay, well, you did these things right. It's just this is where you kind of screwed up at. So it's good that you did X, Y, Z right. It's just, hey, maybe this, you either have like a problem, or maybe it's a case by case basis, something happened or whatever, but you got to figure it out and be constructive rather than deconstructive. So I know it's hard for some people more than it is for others, because a lot of us don't grow up learning from personal development gurus or podcasts or YouTubes or reading books or whatever. That's why I've been so adamant about pushing books onto you guys. And yeah, it's a lot of books. I mean, I mean, God, I created an Instagram page just to keep up with all of them. I mean, that should tell you that it's a lot, right? And it's not for the sake of just to build your library. I mean, anybody can build a library, but it's to get access to information that a lot of us lacked throughout our lives. And a lot of these ideas from either Stoic philosophy or business or even just self-help personal development books, a lot of it comes back to trading, because your personal development is going to be involved into your trading. I mean, anybody can have a plan, but not everybody can have discipline, right? Everybody can see, but not everybody has a vision. You understand? So you can know what an imbalance is. You can know what a mitigation is. Hell, you could print off the mitigation model. I mean, I have it printed off, right? I'm not gonna let you screenshot it, but I have it, right? It's my mitigation model. It's right here in front of me. I can see it, but anybody can have it, or well, I might have made it tier 2 and up. I don't remember, but if you're a tier 2 or a tier 3 member, everybody has access to that mitigation model. So you can know it, you can print it off, you can know all the steps by heart and everything. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the discipline to abide by the mitigation model rules. That's what makes trading hard. You can go on Twitter. You can search. I haven't done this, so I'm just assuming, but you can do like keyword searches and stuff. You could search up trading plan, trading model, mitigation is fucking whatever. Okay. And you can find dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of trade plans, some simple, some not so simple, whatever. And they could be great, or they could work over time, and that's fine. 60% win rate or whatever, 2-to-1, whatever the case. Okay. But if you do not have the personal development side, it's useless. A plan is useless without the discipline to implement it, right? And part of that implementation, part of that implementation is journaling and developing yourself, but being too hard on yourself or to yourself, especially like in private, which a journal should be. That I think is one of the contributing factors to what holds traders back from the success that they want. So, with that being said, do you guys feel that that's a problem? Do you guys feel like, man, John, I have a journal, but I don't know how to journal? Or, well, I mean, I write, but I don't really know what to write about. I don't know if I'm even doing this correctly. Do any of you feel that way? Because I felt that way for a long time. Sometimes I still do. I still journal though, but in the beginning I was like, I almost thought this was a waste of time. Yeah. I'm like, what benefit? I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with trading? So you let me know. And so we're at the close here of this 15-minute candlestick, and I don't know. And that doesn't really look all. I don't know what the right word is, but I mean, at least behind this small imbalance here, and I don't even know, the 5 minute doesn't really have a lot that I would really care for. Yeah, I'm not sure. What's good, Alex? And Planet. I just tried to date it and what I did in a Word document and throw the screenshots. Throw the screenshots right today. Okay, Willow. So when you put that stuff in there, the date, the charts, I'm sure, I'm assuming like a before and after or whatever. Do you actually go back and look at it, or do you just kind of like, all right, I put the chart in here, my job is done, I'm off to margaritas and quesadillas. You know, I'm off to Taco Tuesday, you know, and that's it. So yeah, we definitely, like the Nasdaq specifically has definitely traded through that gap on the daily. But if we go back to the daily, look at it. I mean, it's if we take this off, like it looks like, hey, oh shit, like that's fairly, you know, bullish. Same thing for the S&P, right? Like we talked about how, I mean, we went right in there, like right to it, and said that that might be our low of the day. I still think it could be, and the bullish, or I don't want to say bullishness, but because I could be wrong, but the reaction away from this at least gives a vibe that okay, the low has been set. And that's why I'm saying when we watch this here, I'm trying to see how do we react. That's why I put that blue line there and not, well, I did switch it to the pink one, but originally it was the blue one because the whole idea is, well, this might be a stop run to go lower, or it is a distinctive break of structure to then long the next retracement to go higher. Like that was that idea, or thought process rather. Naruto says, I've been journaling for years now. It has taken different shapes and forms, but usually it's just noting down and developing concepts, ideas, thoughts, and things I've learned over time. Well, it says, I used to treat it as a check-in, the box type thing. Yeah. Journaling done forever, but after not seeing the consistent success I've since been going back and reviewing my weeks on Sundays. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I do analysis on losing trades or even like a break even trade too quickly. Because I'll be like, oh, I just got it wrong. Like, or oh, I just assumed whatever and just kind of like brush it off. Like, all right, on to the next one. Right? Jay-Z. And not actually it's almost like breezing past the difficult stuff, because it's like I want to take responsibility. It's almost like doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like, oh yeah, I journaled, it's all good. But it's like, all right, you're just going through the motions. You're not actually journaling for the sake of learning. You're just journaling for the sake of writing some shit down so you can move on with your day, just to say that you've done it. But I've been known to do that too. Or just, I'll just say, man, fuck it. It was a good trade. It just hit stop loss. I mean, what do you expect? It's just a losing trade, losing transaction, and that's it, you know? Versus like actually going, okay, why did it run to stop? Like what did we actually miss? Other than just chalking it up as a loss. Well, of course it's a loss, but is there anything that you actually did wrong, or did you just get it wrong? You know, and I think that is one of the steps that we overlook. And then it just comes back to bite us in the ass later. You know, almost like hamster wheel. Because if you don't learn from that mistake, you're just going to make it again later. It hit me today in my entry earlier that the purpose of this is seeking clarity, which I believe requires internal reflection, stillness, and understanding of both the internal and external. This is what we seek with trading as well, clarity. So that is what is important for trading, reviewing and understanding in order to have clarity, which will now be my focus on journaling with trading. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of work, not just physical work, but mental work as well. And by physical work, I don't mean like just pressing a button for the buy and sell, right? Or order placement. I'm saying physically as in, you know, buying the journal, taking the pen to the paper, and actually spending that time. That's what I mean. With that. Oh, and you know what? That actually ended up being very small time frame equal highs here as well in the 1 minute Dow. Right there. So we scooped that Wednesday low, and then we ran for this set of equal highs there, which is interesting, right? Market moves from liquidity to liquidity. But I mean, that's not enough for me to want to do something with that. But I'm just saying, I just now noticed that. Because I don't think the other indices had those same highs. So I guess we'll have to see what we do over the next, I guess it would be this candle and then one more. And that would be the close at a 15-minute. And then it may trade like lower and then run. That's just what I'm assuming again. All right, this session price action. My trades, what I felt, etc. And then I'll make a reflection about what I did good and what I could do better. Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think taking trades in the beginning was really easy because I didn't have certain expectations. I didn't have the expectation of, all right, I should just wick this. You know, like that, that was not expectations. Whereas now, many, many years later, I have the expectation of, okay, well, you should be right within a very small time window, you know? And so I think having those expectations, and then if they're not met, it almost begins to attack the ego, right? And that's not good. Because now you're letting something that has nothing to do with the market affect your trading. You're going, oh, you just want to be right. Like you just want to make money. Well, I mean, everybody wants to make money, but I'm saying like you just want to be right for the sake of being right. You don't want to make money for money's sake. You're just trying to do something that will, you'll try to impress other people or something with like your entry and exit, you know, for social media or something like that, you know? And that's why I told you guys over the last number of years, you take some really good entries. Like you get a wick entry on a 1 minute or 5 minute and it runs to your TP. And that shit is worse than any drug that I could even imagine, because It's like, okay, we did this once, maybe twice. All right, now we should be able to do that every time. Like, oh, I wish every trade was like that. I wish I could wake every trade. Which, you know, would be great, but I don't. I don't wake every trade. It would be nice, but it doesn't happen. You get addicted to the well, it's not just the feeling, but it's the P&L too. You go, man, almost no risk, straight reward. Like, that's what trading should be. That's what trading is. You know? So the next 5-minute candle is going to determine where this 15-minute candle closes. So that's interesting. Look at that 1 hour too. We just dipped right in there. We've got our first relatively up close candle in the 1 hour time frame today, which is pretty cool. So if we outline, I guess everything. There's your 12. There's your 3. So that's like kind of an afternoon session there, and then the final hour. So here's the only issue that I have is what the target should be. You have a intraday high from this morning here. So if you're looking at ESZ anyway, the 4481 has stops there, right? I mean, it's easy. Think about it. Market's been massively bearish. Okay. I mean, it traded down like 40, 50 points or something like that. Whatever that is, 40. Okay. So, where are the stops at? I mean, they're all over the place, but you take them, you drag them lower, price drops down, you drag it lower again, right? So on an intraday basis, the stops here, because that's the most immediate morning session high during lunch, right? Because lunch is, well, at least the way I look at it, like 11 to 12. So lunch is like right here. So part of lunch was lower. So at 11:45, you got to remember, at some point, price was doing this, right? Like in that moment around 11:45, at that moment here, I mean, you look at this and that looks like a monster. You're going, Jesus, that thing is massively lower, right? So stops are being bumped down to the high, down to the high, down to the high. So now the stops that were here at 44.74, those have been taken. So if you've been short, your buy stop was there, boom, you're out of your short, and that's it. So what I'm saying is the next available price, I guess, level that would be where the stops are at, 44.81 and above, right? Like not just at the high, but like 1 tick, 2 ticks, maybe even a couple points above that high. And so I guess that's what I'll be waiting to see. Feeling in the trade, isn't it? I had mistakes and I got the fantasy of the potential waning of the market. Didn't get that when I feel down in my emotions very badly. Yeah. Well, nobody likes being wrong. Trust me. Okay, trust me. I've been in arguments with a lot of people over the years, and some people can be blatantly fucking wrong. I mean, flat out wrong. You could be on camera, running like a red light. Nah, I didn't do it. That wasn't me. It's like, dude, that car's registered in your name. That's you in the fucking driver's seat. We can see your arm hanging out the window. You got a tattoo. We can see the damn tattoo. Like, bro, that's you. Nah, it wasn't me. You know, people just despise being wrong. It's an ego thing. Ego is the enemy. Ryan Holiday, you know, and there's 4481. And so with that, it's like the ego in trading doesn't hurt anybody but you. It doesn't hurt anybody but you. So it would be more advantageous to not have an ego in trading. Know what I'm saying? So did you notice how we spiked up there? Did you notice that? We didn't just casually trade there. I mean, this candle closed at, or well, opened rather at 44.79 and a quarter, and then it just magically jumps up to the 83s. Did you watch that? It didn't just casually trade there all slow like. It said, nope, I'm getting close, bam, and it just jumps up there. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that? Well, fuck, we outlined that, dude. Where are the stops at? Well, they were here. That's gone. Okay. Where are the next available stops? Right there. What's the market jump for? Right there. It's not hard. It just unfortunately has not given me an opportunity to go long. So I can't do shit with that. Nasdaq, not the same story, but similar. Where are the stops? Well, they were here. That's gone. Who's next on the chopping block? Who's clenching their ass cheeks right now? Whoever's here. Whoever's at 15,373 and a quarter. They're going, oh shit. They're going, oh, just drop down so I can get out. Look what the market's doing. Look what it's reaching for. Or at least trying to reach for. Look at this 5-minute candle. That's one 5-minute candle. It's just jumping. Jumping, jumping. Oh, wow. Magically right above that high. Magically right there. Boom. Now they just got stopped. Well, I'm out of my short. Market does what? What's the market do? Trades from what to what? Imbalance to liquidity? Oh. You're right. I forgot what this old, or there was an old low over here. 44.83. Well, we're way below that, but you know. You see how easy that is? Now, price may not always give you an entry. I know I say that a lot too. But price in itself, understanding where is it likely to go, is not that difficult. There hasn't been 1 week in like the last 3 years I haven't done something like this. Now, it used to be a little bit larger time frame, but I mean, it's easy. If it wasn't easy, I couldn't come on here and do this shit all the time. Some people prayed for the first time in their life and still got stopped out. Right. Well, you know, there's this really bad, not bad, but there's a saying that I want to say, but it's very sacrilegious. You know? But liquidity is the lifeblood of the markets, right? Algorithms, or at least the algorithms, however you look at it, Mr. Smith, Boogeyman, okay? That's who moves markets. And I would never say praying is useless, But you know, I'm basically hinting at that it's not prayer that's moving price. Okay, it's liquidity and price delivery. So, not trying to be sacrilegious or anything. I'm just saying, you know, price is controlled. It's not random. There's no I guess chaos, as Jordan Peterson would say, right? Order and chaos. Price, there is an order to price. At times it might be chaotic, or it might seem chaotic, but all in all, there is order to price. If there was no order, then I would just be wrong. Or I'd be wrong half the time and right half the time. It would be 50-50. I would be equally as wrong as I would be right in the grand scheme. But that's not the case. There is order here. So instead of instead of praying for price to go your way, you should pray for clarity on how to read price. You know? I think that was in a Daily Stoic the other day too. I think it was called A Different Way to Pray. And he basically said, look, you know, most people pray. Some people don't even know like who or what they're praying to. They just do it anyway. And it's like, his idea is you just pray for the wrong things. And that's my point, is you're praying for the market to go your way when it would probably be better to pray to understand the market more. I'm just saying, Willow. You know? I think it was Epictetus who said, the more we value things outside of our control, the less control we have. So just, I mean, think about that. Think about that. You don't control price, but you control your interpretation. The Stoics would say, you know, don't wish for events to play out how you want them to. Just accept them as they come. It was Nietzsche later, and I don't really have a high I don't really like Nietzsche all that much, but you know, even he said, I think it was amor fati, the love of fate. You shouldn't just accept things as they come. You should love whatever happens to you, which I think might be a gem, but I still don't like Nietzsche, but that's still a decent gem. You know, you should love whatever happens to you. Love of fate. I mean, that's hard though. That's hard. Nobody wants to love when bad things happen to you. Man, John, you know, I really love taking a loss. You know, who says that? You know, who loves being cheated on? Who loves waking up in the middle of the night with food poisoning, you know? No one loves that. But anyway, the whole point of today is the way, or at least discussing how we talk to ourselves and why we should not talk to ourselves in a way that is harmful, but more so helpful. Strict, but not abusive. That's the message for today. It would have been great if we could have found something here early on in this afternoon, but there was nothing to do. For the rest of today, I don't know how bullish I really am, but the next, we're done with that, with Dow. the next available set of stops. I mean, there's no other distinctive high intraday until up here, 15,442. I'm not entirely confident. Like, I wouldn't tweet that. I wouldn't tweet this. I would have tweeted early, like if we didn't have a stream today, I may or may not have tweeted. We may have set the low for today. And now I have a lot more confidence in that we did. So I was trying to figure out what this is from. I'm just going to borrow that. I guess I don't know how bullish the afternoon session is going to be for the indices, but the next available high is 44.96 and a quarter. What about Nietzsche? Do you not like, if you don't mind me asking? All right, I'll answer that. Just give me a second to look this up. ChatGPT is fucking on my webpage. It's moving this down. Give me a second. Let me see. So I want to make sure that I have my information correct. And there's a wall of text on the Wikipedia page. But I think he was very critical of Christianity. I want to say he was the author of Beyond Good and Evil as well, which I haven't read, but I don't know. You know what? It might have been a video that I watched, and I think he might have went crazy at the end of his life as well, and then just died. I don't know. Oh, well, let me hold on. After one semester into the anger of his mother, he stopped his theological studies and lost his faith. As early as his 1862 essay, Fate and History, Nietzsche had argued that historical research had discredited the central teachings of Christianity, but David Strauss's Life of Jesus also seems to have had a profound effect on the young man. In addition, Ludwig, I don't know how to say that name, The Essence of Christianity influenced young Nietzsche with its argument that people created God and not the other way around. Blah, 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 blah. He wrote a letter to his sister saying he lost his faith, blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just... There have been a lot of people throughout history who have criticized Christianity or criticized the Bible in various, different things, like about slavery or all these other things, right? But it seems that when people criticize the Bible for whatever reason, or Christianity for whatever reason, they simply ignore the good aspects of it, like forgiveness and treating other people with respect and other things, right? And so they kind of just throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, oh, one verse that says you should treat your slaves with respect, and then they, oh, no, the Bible's got to be terrible because you condone slavery. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. We have one verse here, and then you've got a 600, 700 page Bible, but you're throwing the whole thing away because of one verse that is taken out of context, you know? And like that, to me, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right. There's only one other quote that is really popular from Nietzsche, and actually Jordan Peterson wrote about it too, and I can tell it to you. I didn't even highlight it because I've seen it so many times. He whose life has a why can bear almost any how, which by itself is not, it's not bad, right? If your why is strong enough, you'll bear through any how. It's a good quote. But would you like a person because they have one good quote about them? Or would you like someone like Epictetus, who has the Enchiridion, the handbook, or someone like Seneca, who has hundreds of letters of stories and wisdom? Who would you like more? This guy who was purposely anti-religious, who had one or two good things to say, or at least is remembered for, and then ended up going crazy? Or someone else who's like, you know what? Seneca doesn't touch on religion. Neither, well, or maybe he did like once, or Epictetus may have like once or twice. But other than that, their letters and their advice is practical. It's very practical. So it's just like, I'm not saying pros and cons, but I'm saying as far as value goes, I just don't get a lot of value from someone like Nietzsche versus other philosophers that provide a lot more value. Does that make sense? Hopefully I explained that the way that I wanted. But I mean, think of it like an artist. A lot of artists on the radio have one hit wonder. Okay? Who was it? Chameleonaire, right? They see me rolling. They hating. Okay. One song, it blew up. It was crazy. I mean, guy made millions of dollars. Probably started all kind of like record labels and all these things, entrepreneurship, whatever. And then after that, what happened? Nobody I know says, hey, you know what? I got the new Chameleonaire album. I'm listening to Chameleonaire in the car. Nobody's doing that. Because it's better for most people. They're going to listen to artists that produce, it may not be, you know, Billboard Top 100, but their music is more consistent in terms of like, hey, you know what? Instead of one song, they've got like 5 or 6 really good songs. So I like listening to them. It's the same idea. In my opinion. Maybe there's people out there that love Nietzsche. Like, oh, Nietzsche's this and that. He's great, whatever. That's just not me. You know, I'll put on for Marcus Aurelius. I'll put on for Seneca. I'll put on for Epictetus. Because they provide value, it's practical, and it's not all these wild metaphors and allegories and all this weird shit you got to interpret and use your fucking brain power to interpret what they're saying. Marcus Aurelius, I think, is the easiest to read. And who was it? This guy. I got to look at it. There's a podcast I'm listening to right now. Shit's 4 hours long. It's 4 hours and 23 minutes, actually. It's just over 420 minutes. It's Jocko Podcast 394. It came out 2 months ago. And it's because it's with Ryan Holiday. And I totally forgot where I was going with this. I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about. Oh, that's right. So Jocko was told by a lot of people that he should do a segment on Marcus Aurelius, and his response was, "Well, I probably should, but he's like, I haven't because there's really no way to reinterpret or like explain what Marcus is saying. It's just so cut and dry. There's no need for further explanation. So what is there to talk about?" You take almost any of Marcus's quotes. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. What more is there to say? What more is there to say than that? So that's it. Community switched his focus to entrepreneurship and owns mad businesses. No, that's what I thought. That's why I said that. And he probably did the best move. I mean, because music, it's hard to be super consistent in the music industry, especially if you're not, in the know or a lizard person or whatever, which we're not going to get into today. Maybe one day, but I go be today. That's all controlled too. Entertainment industry and all that too. They're all handpicked, so. But we've been here an hour. We talked about price trading to these levels. We got there. I personally didn't see anything worth taking. So what is there to do now? I don't know. We've already hit 2 levels here. If you want to, you can put a price alert up here at 44.96 and a quarter. We'll see what we do this afternoon. I really don't know. I like the idea of bullishness, but I don't see us getting there without at least one retracement first. We don't need to. But I'm not going to long into a 20-point move. I'm just probably not going to do it. You saw a video of Kevin Gates saying he's 3,000 years old. Well, look, I like Kevin Gates, but he knows marketing very well. That's why they do that shit. Him and Kanye, they know marketing very well. That's why they do shit like that. They do dumb shit like that to stay relevant. Now, both of them, I believe, do have the music and the talent to back it up. I have a ton of Gates' album on my phone. Right? 2 phones. Some of his shit is mainstream, yeah, but some really old stuff too by Kevin is really good. But he's also a master of marketing too. He put Drika in a music video. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, you know what I mean? So he knows what he's doing because people repost it, and you got like Twitter pages like the hip hop pages or whatever that repost and stuff like that. It's all just like Ryan Holiday talks about. It's all media manipulation, dude. And staying relevant in people's minds. And you do that by saying shit like that. I started a car battery with my fucking hands. I'm 3,000 years old. And just a whole bunch of other shit that I'm not going to repeat. And if you're a fan of Kevin Gates, you know why, But there's a method to the madness, bro. There's a reason they do that shit. You stay relevant, you'll sell tickets. You sell tickets, you make money. It's all like follow the money, bro. Follow the money. Maybe some people have limited exposure literature. What do you mean by that? Is your main trading time 12 p.m.? Well, my main time to stream is 12 p.m. Central, yeah. The afternoon session. At least the first hour with you guys. Just so we can have enough time to outline what may or may not happen in the afternoon to give you guys something to work with before the day is over. Because I mean, imagine if we went live, let's say 3 p.m. when the market closes. It means that there's no more opportunity left, at least on the index future side for me personally. And so there's never going to be being like having the ability to come on here and going, okay, well, he's bullish. Oh, there's a bullish setup, so we might take that and then take that trade, right? I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm just saying you get an opportunity to either trade, something that we see, or at least watch it get there, because that's still valuable too. I don't give a fuck what Twitter says. Still watching price go to levels that we outline, that's still experience, and that's still going to give you confidence in understanding price action. Like, oh, look, it traded up to 44.96 just like we thought, right? That gives you confidence, and that to me is still something worth doing, and even probably something worth paying for. But the streams here are free. The streams here are free. So hopefully you can appreciate that. But with that being said, if you got value out of today's stream, drop a like on it if you haven't done so already. We got 37 people on here, only 18 likes. We got a bad ratio right now. We're not working with a good view to like ratio. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. If you didn't like it, you don't have to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't learn anything, and if you didn't watch price go to where we outline, you don't have to like the stream. It's okay. Or if you're on your phone, or you're trying to sneak around work, whatever, to watch the stream or listen to it, you don't have to like it. It's fine. But after work, you can come back and like it though. So anyway, I recorded today's conversation, so I'll probably go back and clip that. I might post it as a video, just so you guys may have some, I guess, extra audio for listening to. Sort of like a podcast, but just not, And I think that was it as far as what I was wanting to talk about today. So stand by tonight for the next market review, because it is Tuesday. So tier 1 and above, which is everybody, is going to get that market review later tonight. All right, so be ready for that. Y'all be good, stay blessed. I will see you here same time, same place tomorrow on Wednesday. And I don't have any outro music because I switched over to the Jocko podcast, which I'm going to finish here in a minute. I have an hour left. That's another reason I probably don't like most podcasts either, is because they're fucking long.